Today we are starting a new project for the CBDC. This month's challenge is to build a swimming pool. There's many ways you can go about this, and we'll be discussing various options that you could choose. I already kind of have an idea in mind about how I'm going to handle mine, but I just want, as I go, I want to explain that there are other approaches you can take. For those that haven't tried to build any kind of a water feature on their plot, this might be a bit of a teaching tool kind of thing. So first of all, whenever I do a CBDC project, it always ends up on this particular alts plot because I just wanted to kind of dedicate a particular plot for these little admin projects. You can see I've got another project going on that's not even closely related to it, but I just like having a clean slate to kind of start with. So anyway, the first thing that I do when I start a new project is I use Google. As the saying often goes, Google is your friend. Whether it be a vehicle, a house, a dresser, a bed, like bunk beds, or whatever, a kitchen setup, whatever the project is, if you have a specific thing in mind, it's always helpful to have a type of guide to kind of follow. I mean, in most cases, you're not going to be able to follow it to a T. Item for item, because obviously we don't have all of the natural building blocks that an actual person in the real world would have. So there's compromises you do, but it's good to have a general kind of a blueprint kind of to follow. So I have gone through and done a little bit of Googling on looking at swimming pool designs. Once it's caught my eye that I think that might be kind of nifty looking, that kind of thing. Technically, the only swimming pool we have in game that I know of off the top of my head is the kiddie pool. That is one approach. The trick with it is when you do a round kind of or curved type of water thing. A lot of the objects that we use to kind of mimic water, be it sleeping bags or even the glass that we have now, the tiny crystals, and various other objects. Most of them aren't round. We just don't have the pretty, shaped kind of basic shape elements that would lend itself well to every type of situation you might find yourself in. So there's a lot of tricks that you'll have to pick up in order to kind of hide those things. I've showcased in some of my tours a few places that have made like bathtubs or jacuzzis that have made them work, but if you paid attention, you would see that they've had to kind of trick it in. It's, we don't have any round water kind of objects or water decor or anything like that. Even in the new stuff that's being spotted on the PTR, still they're not round. It's a lot of like long strips of water, and so it'll be interesting to see what all we figure out how to use them in new and fandangled ways. Anyway, so first step is to do a little bit of research. Now, not everybody wants to take the time to do that. A lot of people like to build off the cuff, just kind of winging it. That's fine too. But for me personally, I like to have a plan in mind, some kind of an idea of, maybe the purpose of what it's going to be. I don't want to just build a house just to build a house. I want to know, well, is it going to be a personal place? Is it going to have just the basics? Are we going to have parties there? That kind of thing. You have to give it a little bit of thought. Well, you don't have to, but I prefer to. So if you're, looking for a method of how to go about starting a new project and getting it going, this is how I do it. It might be to your taste, it might not. So step one for me is do a little bit of research. Find some images that you think might be good references for you, um, and either print them out, keep them on hand as a bookmark, or whatever works for you. Second is where you're going to put it. And I think we're just going to do this as an attachment to this building that's already there. Just because it's here, and I plan to use some similar features. The walls, for instance, I'm going to extend that out and just kind of make it matchy. Third is scale, and not necessarily I mean, it can be scaled to your character, but I'm talking like, how big do you want it? I mean, is this going to be just like maybe a 3 or 4 person pool, or do you want like an Olympic size pool with like, little tracks in it so people can kind of, do their little back and forth kind of thing? What kind of pool are we going to make? For me, I think it's just going to be not an overly large one, but a good size. And I do want some decking area of some kind where there would be like lounge chairs and things like that. And then you need to think about shape. The shape of it, is it going to be like a rectangle with a rectangular body of water? Is there going to be curves? Is it going to be strictly just a swimming pool, or is there going to be like a smaller section that has like a jacuzzi part in it? Is there like a deep end and shallow end kind of effect going on? Is there going to be stairs, or will you be using one of those like metal ladder things? There's a lot of things that you want to kind of think about when you're going to a type of project like this, because as you're thinking about those things, it triggers like gives you some insight into what kind of items you might think about using. For me, my item usage is a little bit limited because mostly I'm going to be getting whatever I can straight off the vendor, or what I happen to already have in my crate. Sometimes I'll go and craft stuff for these projects, but usually not. I kind of stick to what's just available, handy at hand. But for those that are looking for a long-term project and planning to leave it on their house for quite a while, investing a little time to collect stuff from dungeons, or earn the rep for getting it off a rep vendor or whatever, that's also something you have to consider. For me, these are temporary projects. I don't intend on keeping them. I've built a multitude of things on the spot and they're already gone. I think I still have the sculpture that I did inside the house from the last CBDC, but eventually it will go bye-bye as well. So I don't really want to invest a lot of time in gathering resources that I might think, I might could use. I'm just gonna, stick with the easy stuff. But for others, that's a thing that they have to, consider. And then it's just a matter of kind of getting started and playing around with how things are going to fit together, and that sort of thing. So, I think I'm going to kind of keep it simple for myself and not involve a lot of curvy features. You could make like a kidney shaped one, or one that looks like a round thing, and you also there are some pools that have like designs in the bottom of them. Or maybe you make some nifty little thing. I'm thinking I might try that, but really I have to see if I can even pull off the basic shape first before I get too fancy. So we're just gonna grab some foreign floors. Reload UI real quick. I keep forgetting to do that when I first come over here. even if you're the roommate of the place, sometimes if you're been to your place and a few other places, it just kind of acts like it doesn't want to register that you have rights to fiddle with things on here. Now, I know I want mine kind of rectangular shaped. So we'll see. Well, first I'm going to buy myself. Let's see, do I already have some? Yes, I do. I'm just going to buy a few lamps out here because place a few lamps out here because I always seem to come at a time when it is dark in here, and that just irks me. Just to give us some good lighting here. Oh, that should be good. Just the two of them. Oh, that one like went way over there. Yeah, move these things right. Okay. Bump this up a little. Not super bright. Just don't want to forget that it's up there. Okay, so I kind of want this to be, since I want it to be kind of like, the way I'm going to build it, I'm going to be using glass for the water. So I know for a fact that people aren't actually going to be able to swim in the pool. But if they were able to, you want some depth to your pool. You don't want to build it straight flat to the ground. I mean, you could if you want just the appearance of having a pool, but let's see, a good way to put this. I want to build it in a way that if I was able to actually, make it where they could swim in it, I want to give that illusion that, it's deep, that kind of thing. So I'm going to elevate the top part a bit. I'm going to start with the top and then we'll work down. Let's see. And I don't really want to get really big with the bits. Because if I work too large with like big pieces like this, it might actually be tougher to blend everything together, because as you are like doing the side pieces and things, then you have to start changing the sizes up, and I kind of want everything to be kind of the same size. Keep it nice and uniform a little bit. So okay. Let's bring up Katya's. Since I don't have anything underneath, I should be able to get away with using the clone tool fairly easily without there being a problem that being able to grab the right one. We're just gonna make a line of flooring here. Trying to keep the gaps about the same. It may not be exact every time, but there's probably a way I can do the difference and average kind of thing to just kind of put it all out there myself, but I prefer having more of a hands-on kind of thing. It could speed it up, but oh well. You hear a lot of noises in the background. It's again, got the window open and a little bit of a traffic thing going on outside. I suppose there's still a lot of people heading off to work. Now, I don't necessarily have to keep copying the next one over and over. It's just I don't want to have to like drag it from all the way up there to here, copying the same one. Now, the reason I picked swimming pool for this month is, at least from where I originally come from, and I guess kind of here too, August kind of represents the last month of summer. Because like here, next month is the 1st of September, they start school again. So it's kind of like all the end of, and I figured swimming pool would be a fitting kind of theme for a summer month, so that's why I picked it. And I figured that, you know, there's a lot of variations that are possible, so surely, you know, guildies that decide to participate in it, there should be a good variety of pools that result from it. Now, as I was saying, there's many approaches you could take. I'm building mine more or less utterly from scratch. You could grab yourself one of the water type fab kits. There's the hot springs, I think, is one of them, and then there's another fishing pond or some other kind of pond, or even the kiddie pool, and just rebuild around the amounts of water and make your own kind of exterior look. Just cover up everything else and make it your own. You could do that, and that would be one way to get actual water that you can, you know, wade around in or sit in or whatever. There's also many, let's see, did I copy that one? There are many display kind of panels. I think there's the Exile wall display that you can use. There's awkward bits like the handles, little metal arms and stuff that you might have to contend with. There's the, I think it's the clunky fire extinguisher or one of the other kind of tube-like things, depending on which one you pick. Some of them don't have any collision if you make it really large and just kind of sink in. It's got the lines and like bubble shape to it, but you know, if you're looking for different kinds of uses for items that might look like water that you could actually kind of run around in. That would be an option. If you're Dominion side, then a good thing for you is like the Chua portrait. It's got like a hologram picture of a Chua on it. If you enlarge it up really big, that could be your pull. It would have, of course, the big Chua face on it, but it's there's no collision when it's really big. I've seen people use it as doorways and things like that, but a pull would be just as feasible. It looks like this is going to be a little off. That's okay. We'll just... we'll go with it. Okay. In fact, we'll leave that one off. Maybe this will be where the staircase is that leads up to the top. Okay, so now we'll start working on the sides, and we'll extend it out however far I think it should go. Because remember, we're just keeping it just kind of a basic rectangle shape. If you want to get fancier with yours and adding some curves and stuff, the hover park materials probably would really lend itself well to that. Yeah, it's probably the best option. You might could get away with using some of the curved wall pieces if you're going for different textures and stuff. But I don't know, I think the hover park bits would, at least the shapes of it, not necessarily good to have a pool made of wood maybe, but since we don't have any other kind of surfaces for those park pieces, that would be one thing to consider. But they do have a lot of nice different curves and shapes that you can use for that. Okay, so back to copying this one. Hey gamer, I thought you'd be streaming today. Or did you just finish? Or maybe it was someone else that I got a stream notice from, I can't remember. Hey Lexi. Finished a while ago, huh? Wow, is everybody waking up? Hey Samson. Yes, today we're going to, we're starting the new CBDC project. We're gonna try anyway. I expect my guildies to do a lot better job at using their imaginations, but I'm keeping it simple. Have any of you tried out the PTR yet? Oops. We were asking the same thing. Yeah, I've been on there. I went on yesterday a couple of times. I happen to already have a PTR character from the last time they had one up, and so I got to kind of take a sneak peek. I did a video yesterday morning of a lot of the new items for sale on the housing vendor, and we did a little bit of gambling on the fortune coins and things like that, and got some of the new Exile and Dominion NPCs. But I'm currently in the process of waiting for my main character and another one to be copied to the PTR. Last I heard, the wait was like 27 hours, and I think it's been pretty close to 24 for me so far. So hopefully sometime this morning I'll get a notice that my characters are finally in the PTR, because I kind of wanted to get a look at, with the new sizes of the plots, there's been a lot of discussion and angst about how it's going to affect structures that are already built, how you're going to have to adjust for the new land. And I just kind of wanted to get an idea of how drastically that might alter some of mine. So I'm copying over the one with the makeshift house that I did, the secluded landing one, and then I'm copying Garrett's golf park. Granted, Garrett's, my main plot will probably not be there. It won't be the same thing at least. So not that big of a deal. I changed her plot enough where it doesn't bother me, but I just kind of wanted to get an idea and have people that happen to be watching a better idea of just how it will look. Well, welcome to WildStar, Lexi. It's always nice to see new people joining in. And yeah, they just opened the PTR. I guess it was the day before yesterday, my time. I don't know when exactly it was, because I think I heard about it a little delayed. Because while I do check the forums pretty regularly, there are some things that I kind of come across a little later than others. But yeah, we're looking at a new release of a content kind of patch expansion kind of thing in the fall, and so they're already working on testing it up. It's possible, Samson. The thing is, let me see if I can describe it. You see where the house is here? It's kind of almost sort of centered in the middle of the plot here. Let me get rid of this. Well, whatever you have currently, it supposedly or technically remains, but whatever, like say with your moon base you've got, well, like say someone's built a fence all the way around the edge of their plot here. Well, that means that when they go to the new version, they will have an extra strip of land all the way around. It's like your existing plot is centered into this new larger plot. So if you've taken the time to build a special structure around the teleport pad, this is like the really big fussy point. In your current plot, whatever you've built is right on the teleporter, right? Well, when you switch it to the PTR version, if you've copied it over, you'll discover that your little mock-up here is actually way over here now. You know, in the grand scheme of things, it's your teleporter is actually outside your build now. So for most people, it'll probably just be an adjustment of either building a tunnel or a path from the new teleporter area to kind of, you know, match it up into it. Others feel like they're going to have to like totally rebuild it because it just ruins the whole look of things. Because, you know, for those that don't have enclosed walls kind of boxing everything in, you have this, you know, little oasis in the middle of this big expanse of new property. So I don't know. For me, like I said, I changed my property quite a bit anyway, so I consider it just an extra bonus that we get some more land. So yeah, just more moon around your moon base. Yeah, that's exactly right, gamer. It's just kind of a, I think it's more of an annoyance than anything, but really folks have just been, there's been a lot of outcry of, oh my gosh, you know, it's just going to ruin everything. And I don't think it's going to be as bad as some are declaring, but some are hoping that they will decide to maybe make the expansion optional, so that if you want to keep your plot just exactly the size it is right now, that you can leave it. And then later when you decide to change it, you can apply for the upgrade or whatever. But by the looks of it, it's just a global change. Everybody will have more land. Yeah, the intention is that they are gonna. I don't know if it's something you can get from the vendor or if it comes from the cash shop, but I did see somebody tweet a little graphic that said, you know, there's option to purchase more plugins or whatever they call it, um, for your fab kits. So I guess in addition to those that we already have, we'll probably get another 3 or 4 maybe. I don't know, so don't quote me on that. I haven't really played around with it, but just like there is increased decor limit, those do come from the cash shop. It's like 230 something in coin for a 500 decor item increase. And you can go up to, last I heard, I think it was confirmed that there was like 5,000 total, which means 2,500 inside and 2,500 outside. So I guess they decided to give us the increase with the addition of the land. So yeah, lots of goodies, lots of new stuff. I'll probably be revisiting the PTR tomorrow. Hopefully my characters will be copied over and we can kind of take a closer look at how it might affect someone's plot. Just kind of drool over some of the new stuff again. But yeah, for me, I'm excited about it, but others less so. Let's do this one. How are you enjoying things so far, Lexi? I mean, if you're saying you just kind of hopped in, is it pretty overwhelming, all of the things? No, gamer, I haven't seen any indication that the neighborhoods are in yet. It could be that they've decided to hold it off for a later patch. I'm not sure. I imagine it's just something they haven't. It could be something that's coming that they just haven't put into this PTR version. I really don't know. I haven't heard anyone even ask about it, really. I did see a lot of different NPCs that we can get for our plot. There's not only the guard NPCs, but some of the new fab kits come with quite a bit of NPCs. They don't necessarily roam around all over your plot or anything, but it makes your plot look a little populated with them. Kind of like the hobo train, although the hobos actually move around quite a ways off. But I did see one snapshot of a lot party goer NPC where they're like, it looks like the thing's jumping around, clapping its hands and stuff. So that's pretty interesting. And if they've got the people kind of NPCs, I'm sure animal NPCs aren't far behind. Yeah, well, it's good that you're enjoying your stay so far, Alexi. I hope it leads to a permanent new Nexian among us. Because really, you know, yes, there's similarities to some games and a lot of differences to other games, but I think it holds its own in comparison to everyone else. Yeah, Samson. Yeah, I don't know. I hate to say that because I managed to keep above water as far as the pocketbook goes, but of course I've been at it for over a year, so I have a bit of an advantage. But yeah, if you're just starting out, Housing King seemed kind of a rich man's game at first. It's one of those things, though. I've often said it's more of a marathon than a sprint. You can't expect to have a full decked out house in an instant. You've got to work for it. You got to put the time and everything into it. Okay, I think I'll add one more. This is going to be like a huge pool, and nobody's going to use it. Yeah, that's the thing. It's kind of like an investment. If decorating and stuff is something that's you find entertaining or appealing or challenging, then it's worth uh, everything you put into it. And even if you've got just a box full of a few little toys to play with, like pieces of wood and a couple of chairs, there's so much you can do with those same pieces. You can make many different things. And that's what I love about housing. There's always something to build. I mean, you've seen how many projects I've started in just the short time that I've been streaming. I don't know. There's always something. And that's what I like about it. You can't really claim to be ever bored. There's always something you can be doing. Like a guildmate yesterday, I'm bored. And I was like, well, there's that challenge you could be working on. Granted, housing is not for everybody. It is pretty time consuming. But, who doesn't like a fun pastime? In between queuing for a battleground, you could be sitting in your plot building something. That's pretty good. That's an interesting question. When my main gets copied over, I'll have to check and see if there's maybe any new recipes. I haven't heard of any for the architects, but that doesn't mean there aren't some. I think the last time they added some, it was just a couple. But I'll definitely see if I can find out any information about that. That is a good observation, because it's great that they add new decor straight up off the vendor and stuff, but it's I know a lot of architects. For me, when I use my architect, it's just to build whatever I happen to need. I don't build to make money. I mean, sometimes I sell some of the extra stuff that I come up, end up crafting in the process of trying to craft something else, but I don't explicitly craft to finance my housing addiction. But there are some architects that's what they do, and if there's no new patterns, then you would think that would be kind of a lousy way to go about it. You want to supplement it in all ways. Yeah, questing is one of my favorite things to do. That's a lot of people opt to maybe do dungeoning as soon as they got the first dungeon available. Then that's all they ever do is dungeon, and that's how they level up. But for me, I prefer the questing. I like it. Kind of gives me an excuse to run around and discover all of the locations, and I don't know, it's just another form of entertainment. Plus, I like completing all of the stuffs. Get little extra achievements and things, and as you're questing, you get introduced to all of the different challenges and things, which I heard they're setting up the challenges kind of like they do the contracts, where you have a bar that you fill up in an area, so that as you complete challenges, you fill up that bar and you get a little surprise at the end or something. I heard a guildmate talking about that yesterday, so. Is it now? I hadn't really done the Technofoods Daily in probably a couple weeks now. I've been so naughty. I have been preoccupied with many things. I've just been kind of neglecting that for a while. I've even been kind of really bad about not doing the contracts But I actually finished the 5th tier of the contracts last week. I was so proud of myself. It's been like a couple weeks since it was sitting there waiting to be filled up, and I actually got it completed. Of course, now I think it's back down to the bottom, and I haven't done a thing for it. But I'm so thankful that they have it set up so that you don't have to always engage in the multi-person kind of stuff. So you can slowly build it up with little, you know, kill 50 of this or kill 30 of that or whatever. Because if it wasn't for that, I probably would never finish them. It's not that I don't like playing with other people, but it's sometimes just I'm usually at the wrong place at the wrong time kind of thing. I'll come into a place where there's, you know, doing the Starcom little zone event, and I'll get there and it just finished, that kind of thing, and then it says, well, you gotta wait like 180 minutes from now. It's like, well, I'll try again. I'll come back and it's just finished, and like I had bad timing with it. So I like that they have an option that for us goofier folks, we can still get it, but it just is a little slower. Wow, this thing is like huge now, like an Olympic pool. Oh well. We'll go with it. Now, because I'm using glass as my water and everything, that will probably be the last thing to go in. So we're just kind of building the skeleton of the pool. Now let's see if I space these out well enough that it's a pretty close match. That's not too bad. A little off. We'll just fake it in. That's good. Okay, so we have our initial outline. So, you know, in theory, I'd go wee and start swimming and drowning probably because I'm not a very good swimmer. So, obviously, you could opt to leave the ground visible, especially if you're using a ground like this where it's not got grass swaying in the wind kind of thing. Oh, my nose is starting to itch again. But for me, I think we're going to try and just kind of cover this up with some. Now that may mean that I may end up having to raise this up even more, but we'll see. We'll see how it looks. Probably the quickest and easiest way to do that is to just bring in some oversized floors and see if I can squeeze them in all right. Well, that's good, Samson. I'm glad you were able to complete it. Again, I haven't tried to do it in a while, so let's see. We're just gonna copy, clone. Let's see what we got here. Wow, can't see any of the arrows there. Yeah, so it might be alright at that depth. Now if we can get the other one to match Spain, let's just put a floor out here because I don't want it getting stuck underneath. Yeah, they are pretty adorable. I have to admit, I like the look of the Chuas as well. I had actually, I know it's a sad thing to admit, but I had actually wanted to play them from the very first. The only thing that stopped me was that Chua cannot currently be stalkers, and I knew I was dead set on having a stalker class. So if, Carbine had originally put in Stalker as an option for Chua, I probably wouldn't be an Ori to this day. But such as it is, they weren't, and I wasn't, and so I am what I am now. Just kind of adjusting this. It looks like I got too much of a gap here. That's better. But yeah, they're pretty adorable. They run kind of weird. They're like loping like a deer or something, but I'm surprised we don't have antlers. One version of our ear. Having little horns. Okay, so that's the floor of it. We still got a pretty good amount of depth, so that's good. Now we need to put in some walls. First though, I think we're going to size this down a little bit differently. So what we're going to do is I'm going to add just a little bit of decoration kind of to it. Let's see. Lower. And the way I'm going to do this is how am I going to do this? Try let's try yeah, I think that'll work. I know what I'm doing doesn't make sense quite yet, but bear with me. I do have a method to my madness here. Okay, so wow, hard to get in here so I can see good. And my arrows are so not visible. It's probably because of the bright light. That doesn't help any. Let's see. Whoop. There we go. Maybe that'll be all. Okay, I was moving the wrong thing. Can't see anything. Oh, for crying out loud. Oh, that's just the wrong one too. I'm just having a bad morning. There we go. Okay, let me, don't touch it, don't touch it. Maybe it won't explode. No, you're not, Samson. You're not scary at all. You're just a big old teddy bear, or little teddy bear, I should say. I know a lot of people were kind of bothered that the male Orin are smaller than the girls. If I didn't feel so weird playing a male character, I probably would have picked, because the shorter the character, the better. Again, that's why I liked the Chuas from the start, was because they're short. Because I'm the shortest in my family, so they like to make fun of my size. Like if I'm reaching for something in the cabinets in the kitchen, I'm like, got this huge step stool and I've got a stick trying to poke things in the top shelves, trying to get them down, and they like to make fun of me about that. But so I always pick a small character in the games I play. All right, Lexi, thanks for dropping by, and I wish you luck in your WildStar adventures. Drop by again and let us know how it's going if you can. Always love to hear about that. And you can come cry on our shoulders when you discover housing. Good night, Lexi. Lexi's going to dream about WildStar tonight. I predict it. So if you can tell, I'm adding some kind of like tiled trim around the inside. I don't know if it's going to be a good idea or not, but that's what I'm doing, just to add some extra decoration to it. Now later I'll probably have to figure out how I'm going to do, like if I'm going to add a ladder or just some steps or something. But for now, I'm going to set out with this. You know, as I build, usually I'll start out with a pattern of something, and then I'll rework it in places that it needs to be reworked. But you know, I start out with the whole thing set up, and then just kind of subtract where I need to adjust for other features in the build. You know, some that are a little bit better planners than me could probably avoid that kind of thing. If they're a bit more specific about the shape and things, but since I'm half winging it, half kind of following a reference, I kind of know what I want, but then I'm like, well, maybe that would work better here. Now notice that my little contracts thing just sticking up there. I try to hide as much as I can around here so that you can see more, but I don't always remember it. But yeah, I'm pretty excited about a lot of the things that's already available to look at and play around with on the PTR. I know the big hoo-ha for a lot of builders is not only the stones, but the water features, and I think it was Desmus that pointed out that we have actual flat ground now. It's not like hilly and everything. You can also hide these neighbors here that you see in the sky around your plot. There's an option to hide those. So if you're wanting to really make yours feel secluded, like you don't have anybody around you, or it just suits the theme of your plot, then you can actually hide that in the future. So there's a lot of nifty things. But as far as the neighborhoods, I have not seen any example of that yet, or heard anyone say that it's actually in-game. I have a suspicion that it may be that they're holding off on it, because there was some discussion about some of the changes they've been making to some of the capital cities, and they were discussing, the devs were talking about, you know, time restrictions. You know, certain changes are easier to make than others, you know, so I'm pretty sure the neighborhood system is kind of a big thing, and it may just be that we have to wait until the next patch before that comes into play. That is my suspicion anyway. Because I mean, with this one, they've got not only all of the changes that they're making to the gear, and a lot of changes to like how the starter area and your initial introduction into the game goes. I mean, they've redone all of that. There's also the cash shop stuff that's being introduced, and all of the ways and things that you can obtain those Omni bits and the in coin and all of that. So those are pretty big additions and pretty big changes, and there's a lot of testing needed. And I don't know. I suspect that they probably left the neighborhoods for another time. Granted, I would hope that they would make it sooner than later, but it's one of those things. Maybe if they hold it off, they can, in addition to that, they can set up, the guild housing, or maybe they intend. Whoops! Did I get my? Oh crud! Got myself stuck. Let me move that over. Oops, not that. No, I'm just stuck, aren't I? Well, fiddly. Let's just go back to the front. Leave it to me to get myself stuck on the thing. Word to the wise, childrens, don't be standing underneath the item that you're placing because you can get stuck. Now I forgot what I was talking about. Something about the guild housing, I think. Oh, that they may intend the neighborhoods to be kind of guild housing as well. I don't know. I suspect not, because it would seem kind of unfair that players would have to because as it is, if somebody wants to build a guild house, they have to basically say, okay, I give up my opportunity to build myself my own character, its own house, so that I can make the guild a guild hall. And I think it would be the same for the neighborhoods. Of course, we're supposed to be getting that communal plot in the middle. Maybe that would be sufficient for a guild hall purpose, but I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking it. But I know a lot of people are anxious about how the plots are going to go together, how they're going to be joined. Will we have to use up some of our decor, our personal decor accounts to kind of build in some bridges and things like that, or will it already come with bridges? And probably if it does come with bridges, it won't be the bridges that people want. They'll want, options to be able to change the look of it. Speaking of bridges, we do have bridges, rope bridges coming. I did see a couple of those. And I was happy to see that they did incorporate a gifting option for purchases made from the cash shop. Because anyone that knows me, I like to do little guild events, like the CBDC thing and stuff. While some of my events don't come with prizes as incentives, I do like the option of offering prizes. But lately it's just mostly flat, because, there's a lot of items that I just, if I happen to be one that would come across and get lucky on a lot of the drops, like have a lot of umbrella trees or something drop in my lap, then that would be a fantastic prize for a lot of the builders and stuff. But, not everybody's into housing stuff. And I feel weird about trying to figure out, well, if I give them a pet, there's a good chance they already have it and that kind of thing. So I thought maybe being able to offer a choice of, you know, fast shop items might be fun. It'll be, you know, something that they will likely be adding stuff to regularly. But having the option to gift it to people, I really like that. I'm not saying I'm going to always do that for every competition that I have, but I like having the option. Okay, don't stand under it. And I did get a glimpse of some of the new outfits that's going to be available. I saw one that had a skull for the helmet, or like a skull face, and then even on the armor there was like bones lining up with, like, you have like your arm bone and the leg bones and the ribs, and that was pretty weird. I don't know if it's something more to do with some Shades Eve kind of things that's coming out, but I saw one that looked like a medical worker, and they had like a hazmat suit and all kinds of different things. I mean, I know most of my attention is focused on housing, but there are other things that I'm interested in. Because, you know, for like housing that's being used for roleplay, it's always nice to have new costumes to be able to put out with that. And here I thought that would be working out perfectly, but no. Okay, so let me... Puppy clone. Don't want to make that too muggy because I don't want a line in there, but well, that looks pretty good. Not as bad as it was. One side down, 3 to go. This is gonna take forever. But, you know, that's the price you pay for little details like this. I don't even want to imagine how many items I'm going to be using to put this in like I want. You know, if I really wanted to be particular, I might could, you know, add some designs here. I thought about that in the beginning, but now that I'm working on this, I don't know if that's going to be a good idea. So just to kind of test how this is going to look, let's just put in a wall here. Like I'm scared to get up against the wall. Okay, can't decide if I want that below or... That looks okay, maybe? Something like that. So this little area here, I mean, it's still pretty deep. Of course, I'm judging by orange size, so for like a Granite, they would be just kind of wading around in this pool. There's not going to be like deep diving going on, but Wow. Big rig. Okay, if I'm going to make it deeper, I would have to do it now. Otherwise, there's a lot of pieces I would have to move. It seems kind of ridiculous, though, to really make it purposefully deep now because, like I said, I'm going to be using glass for my water, so they're not actually going to be able to get around in it. So this is a good representation. We'll leave it at that. Now, for those that actually want it to be swimmable, you'd have to, again, use some of the decor that allow for the collision to not be a factor. And the best ones for that is probably I think it's the Exile wall monitor. But again, a lot of these little bits have those letters and numbers and symbols that flash around on it, so you'd have to kind of ignore that. But once the water features become available, you might get away with being able to do some actual swimming pools with moving water on it. But again, I looked at some of the pieces that we have available in the PTR, and I'm not quite sure how well they will lend themselves to actual swimming pool kind of effects, but we'll see. Copy clone. Oops. Oh well. I touched the wrong arrow. Evil me. I think I put the others to sleep talking. Although Samson's probably working on questing. Earning some more money so he can build more stuffs. That worked out pretty good. Okay, so that's one edge of it. That'll work. Now we just have to do that all the way around. Now, of course, these will be actually narrower because I'm going to have that extra dailies and contracts. Yeah, see, that's what I should be working on. Instead, I'm here fiddling around in a pool, but what can I say? Okay. Now the clone is up underneath there. I'm going to end up getting myself stuck again if I'm not careful. There we go. I keep wanting to copy and paste over here. I'm so bad about not using this new add-on. I'm wanting to get used to it, but I just hard to break old habits. It's just like I heard a few talking about how you've got that continual sprint in the PTR now. And a lot of people are still hitting their sprint button trying to speed up. We've just been programmed for so long, it's going to be hard to break those habits. And of course, I do that too. Like in other games, I'll go play in WoW, and I'll be trying to double jump and sprint in there, and it's like, oops, can't do that. Yeah, let's see. I have about 2 weeks, I think, left to try and put this together. Surely I can do that. I have confidence in myself. If I don't get too fancy with it. Whoops. Oh, crud. If I don't mess it up accidentally as well. But like I said, tomorrow I'll probably do a visit to the PTR to have a look around some more, rather than streaming swimming pool stuff. Mostly I've just been waiting on my character to get copied. I think it's been well over 24 hours now, so hopefully sometime today I'll get the little notice that she's been copied and I can have a closer look. I thought about doing starting a character from scratch and going through the starter zone and stuff, you know, the whole introduction to WildStar bit, but I don't know, I think I'd rather just leave that for others to showcase. I am going to see about visiting some of the vendors to see if we've got any new purchases we can make. I know the renowned vendor on the house lot, it's changed up a little bit as far as the decor that's available. Any of the ones that you can get through the challenges on the housing plots, like from the Shardspire Canyon or Crystal Shards, what is that thing called? Shardspire Crystal thing? It's the one where you hop around on the, get the little anti-gravity jumpy stuff, and the thing that I can't do, I'm horrible at it. The one that I think it awards the event plushie if you complete it successfully and you get a good RNG kind of thing going. Well, those items, the core items like the Vend plushie, and I think there's a medical panel unit thing, and the little bubbling jar with the eyeball floating around in it that comes from, I think it's the Eldon research facility thing. All of those decor items that you could otherwise get by completing the challenges successfully and getting lucky on the rolls, those are now available, or will be available, on the housing vendor for Renown. So it's kind of good. I mean, that way you can get, if you earn the Renown, however you do it, you can also get the goodies without the heartbreak of constantly doing the same challenge over and over and over and getting everything but what you're aiming for. It's like I used to do I think it was the cubic fab kit one where you hop on the pigs and you have to either hop on so many successfully, or you hop up and you like touch these little glowy things up above. I ended up with like hundreds of fruit bowls from that thing. I think that's the one that awarded it, and like, well, fruit bowls are great, but you know, you don't need hundreds of them. Of course, I don't know. Maybe someone's got a build that needs hundreds of fruit balls. Yeah, that's the same, Samson. I do that a lot when I go to check on my garrison in WoW. I'll be like, sprint, sprint, sprint. How come I can't go any faster? But double jump is the one that I really get in trouble with. Especially if I'm actually trying to get over something, because I play a gnome in there. Again, I love the short races, but she gets stuck on a piece of grass. You know, she'll be running through and there's like nothing there, but she gets stuck, and I try to jump and double jump out of the way, and frustrating. But, you know, very much like real life, my husband often says I could probably trip on air because I'm very klutzy and stumble over the smallest things. Yeah, exactly. It's like I remember, I don't know if it was in beta or maybe the first couple of months of when WildStar went live. It was like fruit bowl, fruit bowl, fruit bowl. I was like, I want one of those. I think it was the mangrove that you could get from there, and it never would give it to me. I think a guildmate ended up giving me a couple of them because they felt sorry for me because I just could not get anything but the stupid fruit bowls. It's like, fruit bowls are great, you know, they're a nifty little item and stuff, but you can only take so much of that. So I'm happy to see that the renown vendor will now have those available that you can purchase, as long as you've got the renown, you know. Of course, I don't know. Maybe you have to complete the challenge at least once to be able to unlock it. I've done about all of the challenges anyway, so I don't know if that's a factor, but it's like, oh, you're talking and I'll forget what I'm doing. Ugh, stay still. I feel like we haven't done very much. It's just housing sometimes in builds like this, it's very time consuming. I think we've already been at it for almost an hour and a half, and it's like I have very little to show for it. It's sad, but that's how it goes. Because I'm a slow builder anyway, and of course me chit-chatting in between doesn't help. Or me getting stuck and having to start from the front again. That was a weird noise. I don't think that got picked up on the mic, but I think there's a cow having a fit outside somewhere. Ah, good. Gotta be careful what you click around here, because super sensitive. Another thing I wanted to check with my copied character was I have done a lot of oversizing and undersizing for some of the items in my builds, and there was some folks talking that it possibly might not transition over to the PTR. So we'll see. I hope that's not the case, but if it is, it's good that we know it now so that we can, you know, maybe kind of mentally prepare. Because like I said, there's a lot of people upset about just the increased large area that we will get to work with, but I think that'll be easier to deal with than if everything gets resized again. Because I know at one point they did some kind of modifications to like things like the Galeras stone walls and some of the posters and stuff, and like how they, you know how like when you first place something, it's oriented a certain way, like if, sideways or straight up and down or whatever. They changed how some of that actually come in, and also with some of like the size that it automatically comes in. And when those changes hit live, a lot of people's plots, some of the stuff kind of went whoop, a little wonky because like some of the posters had actually come in like flat instead of upright, and then so people would place them and they'd have to rotate them to get them to stay on the wall properly. Then when Carbine fixed it so that they would come in upright, well, that changed the, I don't know, the coordinates or whatever of the pictures that were already placed, so then they were all sticking out of the wall in a horizontal fashion. It looked really weird. But when they do those, it seems like minor things, but you know, when people are counting on an object to behave a certain way, they use it in a certain way, and then when that is kind of tweaked a little bit, that can throw things off. So again, I'm anxious to see how objects and stuff are affected with the move. Still no notification yet in my mail though, so it hasn't happened yet. I feel like I'm the only one in my guild that hasn't had their character copied yet though. Everybody else is like, oh, you know, mine's got this, and I'm checking out the gear on that, and I was like, well, I'm still waiting. How'd you guys get in so fast? Are you looking forward to the neighbor system though, Samson? I mean, you know, the little community thing that they're talking about introducing? Uh, Man, got a long ways to go. Where are we sitting at on decor? No, we're still okay. Gotta check that. Because, you know, if I've got several projects up and running, it can eat it up. Because usually when I do a project, I don't care about decor limits and all that. I just go nuts because I know I'm probably pretty safe that I'm not going to run out. But like that fish from the past, I just use plates after plates after plates and use like almost 400 of those things. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. You know, there's a chance that I might could, you know, set up something with some guildmates and stuff, but I think a lot of them already have their plots dedicated to guild use. Like we have one that acts as our guild meeting area, where we have a lot of like guild activities like meetings, and sometimes they'll have like a little where they do some little competitions and stuff, like a talent night kind of thing. And then we have some that are considered, you know, off-world bases and stuff. And I figure a lot of them will probably join up as a little community, all the guild usage plots that we have. Hey, Super. Thanks for joining in. And yeah, if you just want to listen, I don't know if I'm all that entertaining as far as my chatter going on. But yeah, feel free to listen in. You don't have to look. And I wish you luck on leveling your alt. I'm not much of an alt person myself, so I commend those that can stomach going through that over and over and over. I'll do a few, but usually I kind of stop. I don't go all the way to the cap. I just kind of, like the few alts that I currently have, they're basically just extra storage space and use of their plots for little projects like this one. But as far as the neighborhoods, I don't know. You know, you would think you want to have a purpose for neighboring up with someone, you know, for the community, especially since you'd be sharing the communal plot. So you want to have like a game plan in mind. That's how I would think about it anyway. So like maybe if you teamed up with folks that are going to do like some park related kind of things, like maybe you have one that's all about the food stands. You have like a food court area, and then another one that's all about the gaming booths, and then maybe the communal plot is where the circus tents are, and you have the three-ring circus kind of thing on it. You know what I'm saying? It's just kind of have a theme going around for everybody, not just grouping up with random individuals and having, you know, 5 different themes going on. I would think you would want to kind of unify the little community. But hey, what do I know? That's why I imagine a lot of guilds will probably use it for guild purposes. You know, have the center one as their guild hall, and then maybe have the plots that are used for like portals to the raids, all of their training ones like the hazard training course and the test dummies and things like that, having those in different ones. For me, I would want to have a reason to join up with someone in a community before I just joined up for the heck of it. So like, for instance, you know, if there's a lot of players that are putting together some holiday themed kind of plots, like maybe one will do Santa's workshop and another one will do, you know, something else that's Christmas related or something, that I think would be a good excuse to match it up so that, you know, it's all in one place kind of thing. Yeah, exactly. Like for yours, it's a great example. Yours is a moon base. You don't want to be teamed up with someone that's got a land base kind of thing. You know, maybe if you've got one that's a spaceport or a spaceship, that might work. But you just kind of want to team up with those with like-minded themes, I think. And it might be a great way for folks that are visiting. I mean, I don't know how the visiting tool will work once the communities are set in. Maybe you could, once you visit a member of if they're a member of a community, if you visit their plot, then you could just walk right over to the next one and then have, you know, this whole experience of whatever theme they're all going for. I think that would be really nice. Or maybe there's a way to, maybe they will divide it with the visitor tool. Maybe you'll visit, there'll be an individual listing, and then for those that are part of communities, you have the community list. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know how that's going to be. That's one option, Samson. You could just say, call in all moon bases, call in all moon bases. But yeah, I'm intrigued with the idea, Gamer. I'm not sure if I'm completely sold on it. I really want to see more information or examples of how it's going to be put together, how the communal plots may or may not affect the individual plots. You know, does it have its own separate decor count? How does that work as far as who's in control of it? You know, like if does it have a communal crate as well? That kind of thing. Uh, or is it more like you have a communal plot, but everybody that is a part of the community has to dedicate X amount of decor from their own plots to be able to spend it on the communal plot? Does that make sense? I'm not sure if I'm making sense, but it's just little things that I've had running in my head as far as, you know, how is that going to work, and the mechanics to it. Yeah, it's exactly, Samson. It's kind of like a marriage. You don't want to go into it with just anybody. You want to kind of find people that are just as passionate about it and have the same like-minded goals. Um, you know, it might be frustrating to have someone that, you know, really does awesome builds, but like me, I'm constantly changing mine. Um, that might not be a perfect person to add into your community because, you know, it's always under construction kind of thing. Oops, didn't mean to do that. Unless that's what you're going for. You know. But I really definitely think that neighborhoods will play very well to specifically themed kind of groupings. Yeah. Well, it's true. I mean, it's like making a commitment to hang out with these specific people and, you know, working together with them. I mean, because you have the communal plot, and I can just imagine a lot of arguments, you know, well, you need to move this over here. And it's like, no, it needs to be lined up with this and that kind of thing. And it's kind of like a marriage. But, like for Shades Eve, it'd be great if you had one that maybe had a huge haunted mansion in the communal plot, and then on the side you have a scary graveyard maze kind of set up, and then another one is uh, I don't know, a fun house where everything's kind of upside down and sideways and kind of weird and all that kind of stuff. I mean, I'm sure there's other things you could add to it, but those are the things that come to mind off the top of my head. Anyway, I think I'm going to be wrapping it up shortly. My back's starting to hurt. You know you've been sitting too long if your butt's going numb and your back's starting to make that creaky poppy noise when you move. And you know, I know the younger folks can take it a little bit more than us elderly, but I just don't have it in me anymore. I'm getting to where I have to take regular breaks. I feel like I've become, you know, too sedentary. I've become a piece of the furniture here. So anyway, that's let's finish off this one side, I guess, and then we'll call it good for today. Oh, clicking the wrong thing. Let's see, tomorrow is, oh my gosh, what is tomorrow? Is tomorrow Friday? Is it Thursday already? Man, I'm so bad. I don't even know what day it is. Yes, today is Thursday. But tomorrow's Friday. Friday is pizza day. Awesome. I don't know. Do you guys do that? Am I the only one in a family that like we have actual specific like days for the types of food we have. We have like a pasta day, a Mexican day, pizza day, burger day. I don't know. It seems kind of, I don't know, maybe too predictive, but you know, it's not like we have the same burgers every burger day. Mix it up, but kind of helpful when you know you're going to go shopping. Kind of know, well, today's such and such day. Oh, okay, we'll pick up this stuff. I don't know. Anywho, tomorrow, hopefully, my character will be copped in. We'll be doing a visit to the PTR tomorrow. Take a little bit closer look at some of the features and how it affects existing homes. I may do a sneak peek on my own to see if I can find any information about vendors that might be selling some new patterns or something, and then I'll showcase that as well. If there's anything else you guys would like me to kind of check out if you don't have access to the PTR, then yeah, Samson, that would be my son. He just eats whatever he feels like it. But I don't know, I guess because we're the ones that have to go shopping and purchase all the stuff that, you know, for the foods. We kind of like to have an idea of what we need to be buying. I mean, you kind of keep the general staples around. We make sure we have cheeses and pastas and things like that, where, you know, if you can't think of anything, you can kind of whip something up off the cuff. But I don't know, I think it helps. But Fridays is pizza day. It's one of my favorite days. Who doesn't love pizza? I mean, wow. If you don't love pizza, there's something wrong. No offense to non-pizza lovers. My father-in-law, he doesn't like pizza. But supposedly it's just because it's got hot tomatoes on it. He don't like hot tomatoes or tomato sauce. And he doesn't like hot cheese, which I think is just bizarre. And he calls us picky because, you know, there are certain foods that we don't eat. And he's like, you know, that's just, what's wrong with you? But then he's like just as picky about certain things that cracks me up. But yeah, he doesn't eat pizza because it's got tomatoes and it's got cheese. Because I once tried to say, well, you could, you know, use what they call a white sauce pizza. Like it's got either bechamel or maybe it's a cauliflower combination kind of thing. But he was like, well, it's got cheese on it still. It's like, oh, well, you know, nothing difficult about that. So I told him what he really needs to try is focaccia, because that's basically a sauceless, cheeseless pizza kind of thing, which I do love that too. But you got to be willing to stomach the good amount of olive oil in it. Okay, so that's the start of our swimming pool, our Olympic-sized pool. It looks huge right now. But anyway, we shall see how it comes as we progress on its prettiness. So yeah, that's the start of the CBDC project. This month's theme is swimming pool, and we'll probably be working on that off and on for the next week or so, maybe. It just depends on how long it takes me to kind of formulate an idea and kind of get it all sorted like I want. You know, with the CBDC stuff, I give them the challenge the first of the month, every month, and then they have approximately 3 weeks to work on it, because the last week of the month is allotted for a voting kind of thing, because we don't have actual prizes for this particular challenge. It's mostly your reward is you accomplishing the challenge, more or less. It's just something to kind of keep people on their toes about figuring out ways to address a certain problem, like a water feature like this. You know, how would you go about creating something that looks sort of believable or can be used in a certain way. And so I don't really offer any prizes for that. But we do have a little voting thing, just to kind of a fun vote for those in the guild who either participate or don't. Not everybody builds something, so it's their opportunity to kind of participate in the event by voting for their favorite. And so we use the last week of the month for that. Hey, Reed. So again, we get about 3 weeks to put something together, and so I'm in not a real big rush. I know I've got plenty of time to work on it, but we'll see how it goes. I may end up changing. Sometime in the fall. They haven't given an actual date yet. They've just kind of kept it very vague and saying that in the fall. It is currently undergoing a stability PTR test right now. We've had some sneak peeks to some of the new features coming, and I expect probably within the next week or two they will be announcing the actual full beta. That if you've signed up for it, they will probably be contacting folks to bring them in on that. Currently, it's just open to current subscribers, but that will be expanded. I suspect pretty soon. So it's coming into the PTR phase. So we've still got a little while to kind of iron out all the wrinkles. But right now, all I can say is sometime in the fall. That could span a good window of time there. So, fingers crossed it's sooner than later, but, everybody wants it ASAP, but, you also want them to get everything good and solid and as bug-free as possible. There's not going to be any absolutely no bug-free, bugless kind of a release, but, the fewer the better. And so that's what we're going to be working on right now, is trying to point out all of that stuff and get them to fix it now before it goes live. But anyway, I think I'm going to wrap it up for today. So thank everyone for dropping by, that you come by to say hello. Another shout out to Lexi. Hope everything goes good with your adventures in WildStar. Lexi's a newcomer, so we want to welcome her. And good luck with your contracts and stuff, Samson. I probably should do those sometime today myself, but I suspect I will not be back in the game for at least till later this evening. But I appreciate you guys dropping in. Tomorrow, again, we'll be taking a sneak peek again at the PTR. I don't know what all we'll be doing, but I'll do my best to show as much as I can. And of course, the weekends I don't stream, but I'll be back next week with another set of things to talk about, things to look at, things to build on. Still got school to work on. And of course, next Wednesday will be Exile Tours. I've already got a couple of names on the list. I'll be doing some more random house hopping to see if I can find some new ones to add to that. And hopefully we'll have another good house tour session. In the meantime, good luck with whatever you're working on. Hope to see you in game. If not, oh well. But I'll see you guys later. Bye bye.